Hello and welcome to Stretford Paddock. This is the news. It is Tuesday, the 3rd of February, the day after the transfer deadline, and we've got lots to get into. We've got some transfer stuff, we've got some ins, some outs, some potential future reconciliation of relationships as well. There's all sorts to get into. Ornstein's been talking about how big United are going in the summer. Is Marcus Rashford due a return at Manchester United? And there's a little bit, some loose ends to tie up after the window closed as well. But there's a lot to get into. But first of all, how is everyone? How are we feeling? It's another Tuesday, another week where we're allowed to be happy as Manchester United fans. That's literally all it's about for me. That's all that matters in life. The amount of stress that was on all of our sort of collective chests over the last 12 months, that it feels like someone's gotten off my chest, which is a very interesting thing to say, and a very weird image to put in people's minds. But do you know what I mean? Are we all feeling this collective, like you wake up in the morning and you don't go, oh God, I wonder what's going to... It's like, oh, we've won 3 games in a row. This is brilliant. There is life, there is light. It's absolutely fantastic. Morning everyone, morning Skill, morning Heaven Soul, morning everyone in the chat as well. Martin P in there, loads of people in the chat already. Let's get into our first story then, because it's a sort of a two-parter, this one, and we can look at whether we think it's true, whether we think there's anything in this, and I want to get people's thoughts on this potential here. So this was from a couple of days ago. Now, this is part 1 of 2 in this story. So Marcus Rashford handed Man United lifeline as Michael Carrick keen to bring back star. Now, what outlet is this in, Producer Ben? This is in the Express. So obviously we'll take it with a pinch of salt. But this was a story that was sort of doing the rounds a couple of days ago. Michael Carrick is keen to bring Marcus Rashford back to Manchester United should he be appointed as the club's permanent manager. Carrick has enjoyed a fantastic start to his tenure, etc., etc. The midfielder has overseen just 2 matches. See, this is from a couple of days ago, but has secured a couple of impressive wins. If we keep going down. Reports, should that materialise, reports in the Telegraph would be interested in welcoming Rashford back into the Old Trafford setup. Now, ideally, we would have the Telegraph source on this, but the Telegraph stuff is behind a paywall, which is why we've got this version. Rashford was frozen out by Amorim, who declared he would prefer to field the 63-year-old goalkeeping coach rather than the English striker. Looking back, that was an absolutely mad thing to say, wasn't it? When I was reading that then, I thought, I must have read that wrong, because he didn't say that. He did say that. Do you remember? When he said, I will play the goalkeeping coach who's 63 over someone who doesn't want to be here. I guess it kind of makes sense. So, on this Rashford thing then, the idea that Carrick would be open to him coming back, would welcome him back, I think for me, I think it would be a terrible idea, first of all. I think whether it's true or not, I think it's a bad idea. And I think that the idea of, and not from an undermining Amorim perspective, I don't care about that. But I think the one enduring thing that Amorim did get right, that I still think the squad is benefiting from now, is the way he got rid of the bad apples at the club. The way that, United have gone from being a team where we were outworked, kind of efforted by oppositions so often under Ten Hag, where, we'd have these big gaps in midfield, we'd have these big gaps on the wings, 2-on-1s for our fullbacks to deal with, because the likes of Rashford, of Garnacho, of Anthony, to a lesser extent, maybe a Højlund as well, and a Xerxes a little bit, who I know is still here, obviously. But they didn't want to put the work in. They didn't want to do the difficult stuff. Jadon Sancho, another one who I think we all sort of figured him out about 3 years ago. But we had these players at the club, and Cristiano Ronaldo is another one under Ten Hag, who he got rid of because he was the sort of, at the time, the epitome of this, where, they don't want to do the difficult stuff. And when you compare that to Ahmad, and when you compare that to Cunha, and when you compare that to Mbermo, who are all happy to work hard and sprint hard and not even get on the end of a tackle or not even get on the end of a pass because, I made the run, why haven't you passed me the ball? They understand that for every 10 runs in behind that you make, or every 10 times you track back, you might get the ball once or twice. But what it does is it changes everything about the game. It changes the intensity about the game. Remember when Mason Mount used to play last season, and you'd see a noticeable sort of shift in the intensity from the whole team, because people go, actually, if he's going to do it, I'll do it as well. Now we've got a team where almost everyone, you had Dorgu into that as well, who's a fantastic example of this, where every single person is working hard almost all the time. And obviously not everyone is tracking back every single time, getting every tackle in. But those two games against Arsenal and City in particular, not one single player thought it was their job to walk around and not do the hard stuff. And I think Amram has instilled that in who he's brought in, which is obviously up to Ineos as well, but more crucially, who they've got rid of. And you can't have players who think all their job is to run in behind and throw their arms up in the air and start whinging if they don't get a pass through. And then when when United are being attacked on, I'll just sort of stick a leg out or do a fake jog. Remember that fake jog that Sancho used to do, where he's like, I'm trying to track my winger, but actually he's not. And I'm never getting goal side. I'm not actually sprinting to get back there. Compare that with Matheus Cunha, who's putting tackles in on our goal line at the corner flag, doubling up with Luke Shaw or Dorgu at left back to actually properly try to stop opposition attacks, not pretending to stop opposition attacks. And I think that's the biggest thing that happened under Amorim, whether it was just down to him, whether it was him and Ineos. And I think bringing Rashford back, whether he's the worst example of it or not, would be a real sign that we're just opening back the door on player power that we can't do. We cannot do that. None of the top teams. Look at the best team in the world over the last 18 months is PSG. They don't do that. If anything, you're almost stunned by how hard they work, how hard they sprint in and out of possession. You know, you look at Arsenal, team who are at the top of the league in England. They all work hard. You don't have anyone on that pitch walking around because they can't be bothered. And I think Rashford and others became examples of that. And that's why United looked every week like we were slower, more sluggish, bigger gaps on the pitch than everyone we played against, whether that was Brentford, West Ham or Man City. I think there's a reason why this season, other than the Man City game, I think that's the only time we've been sort of battered all season. And part of that is because we've at least matched the energy of every team we've played. If not more so, if not outworked them. And that gets you a long way in this league. And then you've got the quality of Bruno, of Mbeumo, of Cunha to separate those games and to actually get you the goals to win them. But if you bring Rashford back, you're accepting that actually we don't mind someone that just walks around on the halfway line and sticks a toe out when they can be asked. Let's go on to the next story. Now, obviously, that's from a couple of days ago. If you look back at the update on this, it seems as though Rashford's rejected it. He's the one that didn't want it. I mean, again, the sources on these stories, I guess the Telegraph is more reliable. This is an exclusive to the touchline. Now, do we know anything about the touchline, producer Ben? They've got a lot of followers. So they've got 1.5 million followers. Now, I don't see them a lot when we're looking at transfers and when we're looking at football news. I don't see them as a source used particularly often. I'm not saying that they're no good, but this is a source that is relatively new to me. Rashford has decided to reject the option to return to Manchester United due to his lack of belief in their project. He thinks he currently is at a club which has hopes of winning major trophies and sees Hansi Flick as the man who can lead him to continental glory. I think that works for all parties personally. I think that makes the most sense. I think is it 10 goals, 10 assists he's got there at Barcelona now, which I think most of us predicted he would be quite successful there. I don't think he's guaranteed to start, but I think Flick rotates a lot of that front line. So he comes in and out, but he's generally doing quite well there. Barcelona obviously seem to be dragging their heels on the fee and how much they pay for him, but I think that him staying at Barcelona makes the most sense for everyone. Let's get into some of the comments. Move forward, don't go back, says Martin P. The amount of S that Rashford took from the media, politicians, random England fans, he probably needed to get away. Yeah, I agree with that, Gary. And I do think part of what went wrong with Rashford was the pressure and the scrutiny. And at times I think, most of us, let's be honest, none of us, me included, and everyone in the comments, has ever felt external pressure the way Rashford did. Unless LeBron James is in the comments or, whoever is in the comments. We've never had tens of millions of tweets, of articles, of opinions, of online sort of kind of dragging basically that Marcus Rashford has felt over his time at Manchester United. You can see why that would you'd become a little bit jaded over time. But that doesn't change the fact that we are where we are with him, and I think that we need to move on personally. And I also don't think we need him. That's the other thing. I don't think we need Marcus Rashford in this team right now. Before we carry on, make sure you check out the merch. I've got a hoodie on here. We've got loads of different options. Obviously, you can see glasses. We've got pin badges, hoodies, jumpers, T-shirts, key rings, all sorts of good stuff on there. Loads of different designs as well. Very, very good. We talk about it all the time, but quality was one of the big things we wanted to go for. So the thickness of the materials, the fact that, you know, the stuff doesn't just wash off the first time you wash it. You're not going to have peeling stickers and peeling badges on there. It's really good stuff, so make sure you go and check out all that. The link is in the description, so please click on that. It's in the comments as well. Let's move on to David Ornstein then. I feel like, I don't think we've ever had him on the channel directly, but he feels like a friend of the channel, doesn't he, somehow? I think he feels like a friend to football, doesn't he, David Ornstein? I think maybe because we get Laurie and Carl on, who obviously know him well for working at The Athletic. I feel like it is second-hand info, but it's kind of 1.5-hand info sometimes. David Ornstein on United's summer transfer plans. And don't say this, David. Manchester United's summer window may not be as crazy as some expect, but the club has plenty to address. Central midfield is the top priority, especially after Casemiro's confirmed departure, leading to ongoing links with Elliot Anderson, Adam Wharton, Carlos Baleba and others. Left-sided attacking roles are also in focus after missing out on Antoine Semenyo, with Rashford and Sancho set to leave. Okay, so he's on the set-to-leave train for Marcus Rashford. That's good. Defensively, Harry Maguire's future is uncertain. This is his option year. He's due to leave with no new contract news, and central defence remains a key area. The new head coach, potentially Carrick or someone else, will be one of United's biggest stories, of course. Early signs under Carrick have sparked hope among fans and those at the club, however embryonic. But as always, actions will speak louder than words. A couple of things to address here. Harry Maguire, I don't want to speak on behalf of everyone, but I think one more year of moderate salary would make some sense there. He's been brilliant these last few games. And you forget sometimes, like, obviously, long term, he's not going to be here. What is he, 32, 33? But shorter term, he's excellent. He's not like, he can get exposed. He has got weaknesses. He does turn slowly. He's not, the most kind of delicate player on the ball, etc. But he's not bad on the ball. He carries the ball well. He doesn't get exposed all the time. And in terms of box defending, crosses, set pieces, all of that, he is one of the best in Europe. Not just like, oh, he's pretty good at that. He is one of the best in Europe. So when you're sat defending crosses in the 90th minute with a 1-0 lead, he's the exact sort of player you need in your box. And you can't just replace that with any kind of young, up-and-coming, talented ball-playing centre-back. Sometimes you just need someone who's 6'4", whose torso is 3 feet wide, who is just really good in the air. I think keeping him on, he knows the club, he's a leader as well. You see him the game at the weekend, shouting at people, telling people where to go, orchestrating things, communicating with the referee, all that sort of stuff. I would personally give him another year. The other part of that story was this midfield thing. And I think we have to go for Elliot Anderson. I think we have to get him, and we have to get him before the World Cup. I think he's exactly what Manchester United need. The more I see him, the more I like him. And it's rare that I've really sort of, there's one player that I've become focused on, and I think that is perfect for Manchester United. I think he's absolutely excellent, Elliot Anderson. And I think he's not the same quality, he's not in the same bracket. I'm not saying that he's as good as him, but he's the first English midfielder I've seen since Paul Scholes that reminds me of Paul Scholes. That he plays in a similar way to Paul Scholes. He's like sort of 2 evolutions below on the Pokemon evolution scale. He's not at Paul Scholes levels, obviously, but he reminds me of him the way he gets the ball, passes it, nips to the other side of the man, gets it back again, plays a quick 1-2, plays the ball forward all the time. Manages to find these difficult sort of low volleys as players are closing in on him, the way he controls the ball in tight spaces, the way he pops up in gaps in the midfield, the way he controls the game for Nottingham Forest. We need someone that can control the game with the ball at their feet. He's happy to have 70, 80, 90, 100 or more passes every single week. I think Elliot Anderson is fantastic, and I think he could go next to a Kobbie Mainoo. He could play next to a Ugarte. He could play next to a Baleba. He could play next to an Adam Wharton. I just think, for me, he is the one that sets you up to have control of games, something that we've lacked so much. There's a reason why we don't win games when we have more than 50% possession, because we don't really know what to do. And the only time we ever really tend to have a lot more than 50% possession. It's when the opposition are in the lead and they're sitting back in their own box. Someone like Elliot Anderson, who can play the ball through the lines, who can consistently, just metronomically keep the game going, keep the game, recycle, holds that pressure in, and we don't have to be 2-0 down and Brentford are sat on the edge of their own box to have 65% possession. He can help you do that. And obviously everyone knows there's going to be loads of competition. City want him. I'm sure Liverpool will probably be after him as well. But for me, I think he's absolutely fantastic, Elliot Anderson, and I really hope we do get him. But obviously we'll have to see and get him done before the World Cup, because if he goes and has a good World Cup, gets to a final, plays every game, sort of dominates that midfield for England, it's another 20 million on it. It goes from being a 75, 80 million pound player to being over 100. That cuts down on other potential signings as well. Give me your thoughts on him. What do people make of him? Anderson I was impressed with. The only question is, would Anderson want to come here? Obviously that has to be worked out. That's an initial thing. He's a Timu Carrick, says Chris Griffiths. Well, he's a different type of player to Carrick, isn't he? And also, all of these players, before they came to Man United, if we were comparing him to the Michael Carrick we saw at Tottenham, or the reputation that Michael Carrick had at Tottenham, I would say they're on a similar level. The difference is Michael Carrick came to the biggest club in England and stepped up another notch and was consistent for 10 years in a row at Manchester United. Whether Elliot Anderson could do that is a question for the next decade to reveal. But I think that when you're buying these players, they're not going to already be the Paul Scholes that he came to be, or the Michael Carrick that we saw at United, etc., or the Roy Keane. We're trying to get the Roy Keane from Forest, not 1998 Roy Keane, who was the best midfielder in the world. We've got to kind of get there a step earlier. Interesting. Yeah, Anderson, yes. Rashford, no, says Giggity. Transfers have to be mainly Prem proven. Obviously, yeah, Elliot Anderson is all about that. Let's move on. Let's move on to our next story. This is just absurd. Man United open talks to sign incredible £43 million star in the summer. He's keen to join. Pause there, producer man. In the comments, guess who you think it is. Guess who you think. Because also £43 million star. I know who this player is going to be, obviously. Where do we think that £43 million tag has come from, Ben? That seems to have been plucked out of thin arse, doesn't it? Yeah. Who do we think that's going to be? Wesley Sneijder, Stiller, yeah, Liao, good guesses, all good guesses. So it's going to cost 43 million quid, okay. So that makes 50 million euros, okay. So maybe he plays in Europe because 43 million pounds is presumably a translation of a year. But yeah, people get a few guesses in there. Tony Cruz, great guess. Fred, it's Cristiano Ronaldo, isn't it? Keep going. It's Cristiano Ronaldo that we're talking about here. There you go, look. According to a report from Spain, Man United have now opened talks to sign Al Nassr's Cristiano Ronaldo. Oh, is it Al Nassr's Cristiano Ronaldo? I thought you meant the other Cristiano Ronaldo. There is only one Cristiano Ronaldo. What are you talking about? In the summer transfer window, the 40-year-old is said to have a £43 million release clause. We bought him for £14 million 5 years ago. Why would he have tripled in price after turning 40? But the former United man wants his career to end at Old Trafford. Oh, right. First of all, no, he doesn't. Second of all, it's not happening. What are we talking about? And then you click you go, oh, who are these reports from Spain? It's Fitch! Of course it is! How do you get a job there? Do you know when you used to before people, if you're young, you won't remember, and I only just remember. Do you remember sort of pre-broadband days, where before everyone had it? So I'm talking the year 2000 to 2004-ish. Where some people used to like to unplug the phone to go on the internet, right? There used to be a character in every pub, or at least one, that just lied all the time. And no one had, and phones, you couldn't really go on the internet properly yet. So pre-smartphone is the crucial thing here, because you used to be able to lie. Lying is a dying art now, because someone lies and they go, oh yeah, no, Scarlett Johansson, yeah, she actually grew up in Cresswell. And then someone Googles it and they go, oh, she's from LA. And they go, oh yeah. But people used to just tell huge lies. Oh, my dad's got a helicopter in his garden. You live on an estate where no one's got gardens. Oh yeah, no, that's a good point. Helipad on the roof then. Like, this Fish Arges is just the pub liar recruited from every part of Spain to make their own media organisation. What are we talking about here? Talks between Cristiano Ronaldo's representatives and Man United's management are ongoing. No, they're not. He's willing to make a historic financial sacrifice. Oh, cheers, mate. The sporting management of the English club believes that Ronaldo's legacy was not tarnished by that controversial interview, which revealed cracks in the institutional internal structure. This is the ultimate shit, isn't it? My dad's David Hasselhoff. Yeah, that kind of stuff. Do you know just the lies that people used to have? Oh yeah, my brother's in the RAF and at the weekend he takes us to Vietnam for our holiday and then we come back on Sunday night. Like that. We go to LA just in the evening and then we visit all these celebrities and then come back. That's what Fish Arges is. Absolute nonsense. Like, unthinkable nonsense. How do they even exist? Do you think they have like a really good political section of that newspaper? I think they're really reputable in another area that we only see the sporting stuff. Because a newspaper that is literally just the sort of thing you'd see in Biro next to a toilet, and that's their whole organisation. How do they exist? Anyway, let's move on. Malacia, we obviously know now he's not going to anywhere in Turkey. However, no one seems to know exactly where he was going to go other than Istanbul. Anyway, this was from the transfer deadline day yesterday. Left-back was on his way to Istanbul when Jason Wilcox, brackets technical director, suddenly called him back to Manchester United after all. Decision-maker changed his mind to the frustration of the Dutchman who wanted the transfer. Now, other people have reported that this is to do with the injury to Patrick Dorgu. Now, what I don't understand is that was 8 days ago that Patrick Dorgu was injured. Why did Jason Wilcox let him board the plane? Call it back. The plane just turned around in midair somewhere over southern Italy. I don't get it. He was on his way to Istanbul when Jason Wilcox suddenly called him back. Which part of the journey do we think he was on? If he was just packing his bag, that's fine. But when you say on his way to Istanbul, that implies he's in midair, doesn't it? Which obviously can't have happened. Jason Wilcox sat at a big table with, do you know those like medieval buffets that you'd see? Just chicken legs, some like artichokes, weird vegetables that we don't have anymore. Mead, just a goblet of mead, all shit down his face, just bring him back. Let him travel. It's like on some old galleon on the way to Turkey, just as he gets around the Horn of the Mediterranean. Bring him back. What do you mean he was on his way to Turkey and Jason Wilcox changed his mind? That flight's like 3 hours. Yeah, he was there somewhere. Somewhere, where is that? That's roughly Slovenia. So apparently he was on his way there and then he had to come back. Anyway, Malacia's going to be here for the rest of the season. What we got next, this is an actual transfer that has happened. Sekou Kone has gone on loan to Lausanne Sport in Switzerland, obviously owned by Manchester United's part owner, Jim Ratcliffe. Good. I don't know quite the standard there, but obviously it's first team men's football. I always think it's good, even if they're not the best players in the world, playing against 32, 33-year-olds as a youngster is a good idea because you just get a sense for that physicality. You get a sense for the sort of nastiness and the kind of the smartness that you get from just being a professional footballer for 10, 15 years. And I think a taste of that is a good thing for youngsters. So good luck to him. Hopefully he does well. They're currently 7th spot, which tends to be the Ineos realm, doesn't it? All of Ineos's clubs are constantly between 4th and 8th place in their respective leagues. That's where we like to keep them. Whether it's Nice, whether it's Man United, whether it's Lausanne Sport, you will finish roughly in the European spots. The Mali Youth International joins another of United's emerging talents, Enzo Canabiec, who I think we signed in the summer, didn't we? Who was also on loan at the Stade de la Tuileries. Final story then. Shea Lacey, hat-trick unbeaten in PL2 for Manchester United. Is it under 21s this? I think it is, isn't it? Yeah, the under 18s don't play in PL2. 5-1 win over West Bromwich Albion, including I said West Bromwich Albion then. Albion, including a red card there for Jace Fitzgerald and a hat-trick, crucially, for Shea Lacey, who's just... Do you know what I mean? Do you know when you start on like a film when they take the scientists down to the reactor core, and at first it's like power up the core, and then you've got the scientist there with his lab coat on, and you've got the kind of, what's it called, the sort of semi-disinterested government official who doesn't believe in the project, and then they power it up and it's and then things start glowing and like going semi-invisible. Lacey's just powering up. Do you know, he's just... And then the politician like getting all panicky. He's getting hat-tricks in PL2. There's something happening with Shea Lacey because he had all that time off with injuries, didn't he? He couldn't get it going. He couldn't quite sort of get moving the way he wanted to. Now it's in the first team. Now it's appearances. Now it's, striking fear into Premier League defences. Now you're getting hat-tricks in PL2. Just building. Something's building there for the end of the season for Shea Lacey. I'm very, very excited for him. No, sir, it's not safe. It hasn't been tested. Yeah, that kind of thing. Getting Shea Lacey out there. Here you go, look. This is him this season. 8 games, 8 goals, 1 assist in PL2. Obviously, you can see in total there, 9 goals, 2 assists in 15 games. Very, very productive stuff. Just building. Let's not get too excited yet, but we're very, very keen on Shea Lacey. He's a very, very exciting player. There's a lot, obviously, we've been through there today. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining us. For the rest of the day, I'm going to be speaking to Stephen Howson, and me and Jay are going to be having a bit of a look at Michael Carrick's Manchester United, of course, as well. So that's coming out later on today. Make sure you stay tuned for that. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining us this morning. This has been the news on Tuesday, the 3rd of February. We'll see you in a bit.